to Invest Insights. I'm Abby Maloney. I'm joined today by Stephen Zito, the General Manager of the Alamodome. Thank you very much for being here today, Steve.
Hi, Abby. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
You have over 30 years of experience in event and facility management. What innovative practices and procedures from your sector do you think will translate well across to other industries, and why?
Boy, there is, we just went through the past 2 years of, an unbelievable experience with COVID. And I think, that experience has certainly seasoned many of us in this business and many businesses. There were no textbooks to go to find out how to react and deal with COVID and the different elements that it brought to us here, certainly at the Alamodome in the city and of course across the world.
Steve, what is the most creative risk you have taken in your career, and how has it paid off for you?
So again, I'm gonna go back to COVID because both personally and professionally, it tested a lot of different things. How do we support the community in this pandemic? How do we bring back live events in our industry that came to a standstill and do it in a responsible way to make it safe, for everybody that partook? Artists, athletes, guests, staff. I think there were three primary areas that we focused on when COVID hit. And developing our approach to this, again, there were no textbooks, so we had to go back and really identify how do we do this. And the city executive leadership, right from the word go, took an aggressive stand to this. And we knew that, in our department, in the Alamodome, in the Convention Center, and the Carver Performing Arts Center, we had almost 300 staff furloughed. And we had, less than 15% of our staff working. So, keeping the building going, trying to be proactive and monitor the science and the technology, and then trying to meet the demand of the city. The Alamodome is a big facility. It's prominently located. So we initially became the go-to in the support efforts of COVID. So when COVID hit, it was a tremendous challenge. We had furloughed 52 of our 68 staff just in the Alamodome, and throughout the department, almost 280 staff total. So we had a limited staff to do a lot of different things. We had to coordinate the support efforts the city had in dealing with COVID. We had to do the research, which changed on a daily basis, to figure out how to open the Alamodome in a responsible manner.
Hmm.
And we had no textbooks to refer to. So in March of 2020, right off the bat, we hosted 2 blood drives because there was a need for blood. Then in May of 20, we hosted 2 personal protection equipment, PPE distribution events, and for first responders and companies dealing with first responders, and distributed over 4,800 PPE kits. In April through July, we became the warehouse for all the PPE equipment for the city and the county. And then in June through the following year, we hosted over 22 food distribution events and fed over 25,000 families in need during the COVID crisis. Then we had to develop a plan to reopen the Alamodome. And that was a very comprehensive process where we dissected every aspect of our business to try to make it as contactless as possible. By September of 20, we hosted our first college football game. And with the exception of 1 month, the Alamodome has been open ever since.
The staffing of events has become slightly more complicated due to labor shortages. How has the Alamodome handled those staffing issues as of late, and how important is it to work with outside partners, such as other event centers or staffing firms, to assist with coverage for your events?
So we partner, we've got a number of partners that we work with in our security and our guest services and our food and beverage operations. And we got creative. We created a group along with a couple of the arenas here in town that utilize other staffing agencies and work together as a team to identify resources for us all to pull from and to help each other. So through those efforts, although we were short, we weren't as short as we could have been, because there was the approach of one team and everybody working together. We also found workarounds from an operational standpoint, like with food and beverage. We stopped our tap and fountain drinks and just sold bottled sodas and beverages, reducing the transaction time for patrons. We created beverage-only stations. We reduced our food and beverage menus to expedite, the sales process, to try to combat some of the labor challenges that we had.
To round out our discussion today, what role does creativity play in remaining competitive in today's landscape?
Well, creativity is, I think, something we do every day. We're in the business of being ready for the unexpected. And COVID was certainly probably the biggest unexpected happenings we've ever seen. So creativity is something that we encourage each and every day. And it's something that we challenge ourselves with, because at the end of the day, we're always trying to set the standard and not ever settle. And, through that creativity is how we were one of the first buildings to open in a responsible manner and be proactive in that process. We were so successful that we were able to host the entire women's Final Four tournament. We were scheduled to just house 3 Final Four games. At the end of the day, we hosted 35 nationally televised games, including the Final Four. And we converted the Alamodome for the first time in the history of the NCAA women's to 2 dual arenas under one roof, and in a COVID environment. So creativity is something we try to do each and every day.
Fabulous. Well, thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you.
It was Steven Zito, the General Manager of the Alamodome. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to hear more CEOs and thought leaders share their opinions and advice on today's business climate. Until next time, I'm Abby Maloney, and this has been Invest Insights. Thank you for tuning in.